Good day, I'm Denise Phillip. I'm the content analyst for ngerati.com, and we're coming live to you from the African Utility Week studio. And with me today, I have got Cleverson Takiguchi, and he's the sales director at S&C Electric. Thank you so much for joining us today. How is the event going so far?
Oh, good, very exciting. As I said, Africa is a very exciting market for us. This is a great venue, we meet the right people, so it's been great so far.
Fantastic. We were talking about innovation, and the focus really that what we were discussing is how can innovation actually improve grid reliability in Africa?
Well, maybe I just start by painting the bigger picture. So about Africa. So with Africa, the things is different. Big variety of systems. So innovation, it could have a key play, but it just cannot be just get an innovation and just try to deploy across the board and just without looking at the specifics. So that's pretty much where we've been focused on.
All right, okay.
Now.
Do you have any particular company examples that you want to share with us? Any deployments around Africa that you'd like to highlight?
Yeah, so well, just talking about the company itself.
Yeah.
So in Africa, we've been working for about 15 years now. South, West, East Africa. So we've been basically trying to learn about systems, because the one thing that we want to really leverage regionally is just our power systems experience, so that's a key part of it.
Yeah.
So with having that as a starting point, plus the technology that we have, we're looking at specific into the systems. So we started off with some pilot projects, which they're now moving to business as usual for the utilities. I can talk about one in South, we have a couple in South Africa with Eskom, and we also have some in Kenya as well. It's all about new technology. One of them, it's about intelligent rupture post-closer, which is an innovative way to test lines compared to conventional reclosers. So with that, we have one pilot with Eskom. We have another one which is for lateral protection with Trip Saver. We have one pilot in South Africa, one in Kenya. Both cases, it's basically for protection of laterals. For South Africa, by the way, with Eskom, I think in one of the circuits we have a device installed for more than a year. I think in 1 year it operated about 10 times. Half of those 10 times were for temporary faults. So basically in those cases we avoided to have Eskom to send somebody in to just go and replace the fuse. So it's big savings, of course, big savings for the customers as well, decreased outages, lots of benefits carrying on. And on the financial side, if you think about just those costs plus the customer costs, I think probably in less than a year there was payback in that project.
So it's
it's good opportunity.
Yeah.
It also demonstrates that technology can improve reliability.
Yeah. Let's highlight the differentiators of the solutions.
Well, so as I said, we have the technology. That's something that S&C is known by for many years. I think we have the local presence as well. As I said, we've been 15 years at least in Africa, so working with local market, understanding the local problems. And I think a third component of it would be just our experience in distribution, automation, and efficiency, because these are the two areas we've been investing the most in Africa. Yeah. So the combination of those, plus our commitment to the customers, with that I think we're making a difference to this market.
Fantastic. Let's talk a little bit about the IntelliRaptor Pulse closer. Do you want to just give us a little bit of expand on the solution for us a bit?
Sure. Yeah. So start off by thinking of conventional practices. So conventional reclosing. So you have a fault, you open the breaker, you close back in the hopes that the fault is gone. If the fault is not gone, you basically close it directly into a fault. So it's a lot of energy passing through the system. That's very aggressive, not just with the circuit itself, but with all the assets around it. So distribution transformers, power transformers. So if you think about from a reliability context, so calculations of reliability, they consider the rate of failure of these assets. Yeah. So if you think about, you're adding one solution that stresses the whole system and therefore decreases the reliability of those components. So it's almost like a bad cycle, right? So that may not be the best solution. So based on that, S&C has developed what we call post-closing, which is just a different technique on how you test the line. Yeah. So rather than putting all that energy, it's just a small post we send to the line so that you can check if the fault is still there, not there. So of course it's much less aggressive to the circuit. and therefore it not only improves reliability, but it also extends the life of all the assets. Right. So it's a great combination. So less outages, assets they last longer. So benefits for the utilities they're clearly recognized because of that.
What is the most exciting market at the moment, in your opinion, in Africa when it comes to improving reliability?
Market, there's different opportunities in different places, but as I said, it's all about niches. So in South Africa, and we're working in Kenya and Ghana, West, East Africa. In each place, there's different applications, just because systems are different. So if you go, especially North and West and East Africa, there's long radius, long circuits, so it's one solution. If you come to South Africa, big cities, they have the concentrated loads, meshed networks, so it's another solution. But still in South Africa, you have the long radius. So our role is, the market is on the niches, on those niches. Yeah. So understanding those and deploying the right solutions for those, that's where I see the most. Okay. So if you ask me a specific region we have more success in, it's probably just, it's in different places, but for specific niche applications, and always specialized solutions, by the way.
Yeah. What would be your advice to utilities across Africa?
Well, I think, as I said before, the key thing is you cannot just take experience from elsewhere. I think there's many vendors, suppliers that would say, I deploy this in North America and Europe. If you just come here and just try to blindly deploy to the grid, it may not work, because if you really need to look into the specifics of the market and also the circuits and all the local topology and everything else. That's what we've learned. So it's a good lesson to learn. Utilities should look into the companies and say, do you have a solution specific to my system? And the other thing is, and where we also leverage our experience, is in the fact that we are power system specialists. So we know power grids, and we've been working with utilities for 100 years, 100 plus years. So having a good understanding of how the systems operate, what are the local specifics, and then bringing the right solution tailored to that scenario, that's key. So that's the one thing that we sell in terms of our leverage, and that's something that utilities, they should be seeking in every vendor, not just for automation, but basically for any solution.
All right. Is that what generally trips them up, is that utilities try and find a solution themselves instead of going out and actually finding some professional assistance, doing a holistic analysis of the entire structure? Do you find that that's one of the challenges in Africa?
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge, but it's not just Africa. Yeah. And it's not lack of knowledge. Because utilities, they know their systems well, much better than anyone. Yeah. But the fact that becomes a constraint to them is that if they develop something internally, they need to keep that knowledge, and they need to keep specialists within their organizations. But with changes and less and less resources, less people dedicated to do tasks, people multitasking, it's hard to maintain internal systems. Yeah. So that's another thing that we sell to the market. If you buy a system like ours, it's been operating. There's a big structure that maintains that platform year over year and improves year over year. So you never get exposed to shortage of resources being an obstacle to the improvement. So it's a big lesson learned. I don't think that utilities cannot develop that internally. It's just maintain it going forward. That's the challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for giving up of your time, and I hope you enjoy the last day of the event. Okay. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm Denise from Engerati.